Warning: Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the Common Denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good Tuesday evening, folks.
That to our producer or intro maker and graphics guy, that is loud for that for that intro. Somebody else said that before, so sorry, Dion. How are you doing tonight, Mama Sally?
Oh, waking up and getting ready to roll out.
Sounds like fun. Are you staying away from the border right now?
Well, yeah. I got somewhat close in Midland, Texas last night, so there you go.
That's pretty close, I guess, so.
Well, there was plenty of refugees there.
Well, at least there's no thunderstorms right now. We had a tornado pass by pretty close to us the other day, so.
Yeah, I heard that.
I guess there was 3 they're saying now. One was Camp Blanding, which I guess is about 10 miles away. One was over in the north part of the county, which was about 7 or 8 miles away. And the other one was a little bit further north than that, which was about 10 miles away. But they were all little ones, luckily. I didn't hear about any injuries and maybe a few roofs blown off of like horse barns and stuff. A couple of trees snapped. I did see that.
So. Yeah, I saw where Valdosta got hit.
Valdosta, I think, got hit a lot harder than we did. I know they showed I guess some of it hit in the mobile home area, and they showed one of the mobile homes was completely destroyed. And I guess the black bathtub was sitting off by the house somewhere. And then another one they showed didn't look like it had hardly any damage on it at all. So, you okay there?
Yeah. It was that last week of coffee I got. Sorry,
I do
folks.
that sometimes. I've done that sometimes. And then it's even worse when you're at work and work on computers, because I'll drink that last swig and it'll be like, what happened to that one? And then it'll be like, have to cough and spit it out. And I'm looking for a trash can or something so I don't spit it all over the floor of the computer.
Yeah, there's that projectile cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I know exactly what you mean. So tonight,
well, folks, we had a bunch of videos that show what happened on our border, and I guess there's some agitators that are kind of ticked off that it was actually really a peaceful rally.
Yeah. just from the videos I saw, it seemed like there were more of them in California than there was in Texas.
Yeah.
I saw one video. I can't remember where I saw it at, but it showed one of the protesting buses coming through, and the cops were kind of having to wave the people out of the way so the bus could pass on through because people were just there filming it like, look at these crazy fools showing up in the middle of this with the roads lined with people wanting to shut the border. So,
Yep. Yeah. Those buses are going to roll no matter what.
oh,
So,
yeah.
but
mean, they
actually, New York is having a conniption fit right now. And New Yorkans,
New Yorkans.
yeah, the New Yorkans, New Yorkians or whatever they're called, are fixing to absorb a lot more tax because they're going to
Yep.
get them debit cards, cash
They're
debit
them
cards.
Yep, $38 million worth.
Yeah.
Pretty much because they don't like what they're feeding them at the migrant camps. So,
Good evening, OG. Nice to have you over there on Discord. Hello,
that's,
Vincent.
that's Twitch over there, but yeah.
Oh, Twitch. I thought that was Discord. Well, Discord. My bad.
But yeah, it's getting interesting. I'll tell you that much because New Yorkers are not happy with that. Can everybody hear us? Vincent Cooper just come up and said he couldn't hear us.
Okay.
Twitch is your meth head cousin. Can everybody hear
Oh my
us?
goodness. Hey, Kimberly Gillard. Long time no see, sweetie.
No kidding. Let's see.
I checked all platforms. You guys have audio on all of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Vince is just going deaf. So yeah, I think we'll start off with the ones in Texas. This is just a walking tour of their Take Back Our Border rally. As you can tell, it's not very aggressive at all. Kind of seems like it might be unorganized as well, just from some of the end I seen talking. But as far as who's speaking and everything else, plenty of speakers though.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
let's see. Hopefully my internet doesn't go crazy again tonight.
It's narrative. It's lies. And I know a lot of you question that because when I first started speaking to people, like when Robert mentioned about, I mean, people think they were clutching their pearls and feigning astonishment. What I laugh about is the same people that had the 1776 stickers on their truck and were yelling, "We got to take our country back." And so people actually went into the United States Capitol and had something to say about stolen elections, and you rejected them. It's mainstream America rejected us all. And most of the right. I know I was speaking at these events, and it was hard because people like me that were inside peacefully, I never touched an officer except to shake hands. The video evidence existed of me saying, "Don't harm the police, don't damage the building. That's not what we're here for." And yet I was treated like some kind of traitorous, treasonous bastard in these United States. 1,300 people now. When I went through this, there wasn't an organization. There wasn't anybody. Nobody was there standing up for it. Congressmen were calling us traitors and terrorists.
I bet you they're selling
And
stuff
nobody
there.
was standing up and saying anything about it. So as I laid there on those sleepless nights, afraid they were going to come back and not knowing what was to come of that, I decided to found an organization to help people so that nobody ever had to go through it alone again. I came to know something about the content of the character of the people there. Yes, there was people from our side that conducted themselves in a way that we should be ashamed of. That happened.
Ruth.
We have to own that. It wasn't all somebody else. There's also situations where people conducted themselves in certain ways in response to the fact that people were being killed at their own.
I just wanted to see what that say. Enforcement actions by Custom Border Patrol, fiscal year 2020, 646,000. 2021, 1.95 million. 2022, 2.76 million. 2023, 3.2 million. Past 4 months, nearly 1 million. December 2023, 307,000 at Eagle Pass. 19 on terrorist watch list. I have a video about that too. 1.7 million known getaways equals over 9 million under Biden.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
On United States Capitol, Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan was beaten to death after she was gassed. I mean, the only crime she was committing when Lila Morris was striking her with a walking stick was breathing. I was telling people these things in 2021. How did I have this amazing insight? Well, because I'd already gone to work working with other attorneys and started working as an investigator and given my time freely and signed an NDA and had full access to all the body cam and Capitol CCTV footage, the stuff you guys are still waiting to see 3 years later. I knew these facts in the summer of 21. I told people, when I told congressmen and when I told public, they thought I'd make good FBI too, because they came to me and offered me to work for them. Because they said, read between the lines, don't tell anyone. This is how it works. We're on your side, we can help you out.
So I'm helping them get money
They told me not to tell the judge or my lawyer or probation.
Guess it would be a good place to sell merchandise.
Yep. There's food tents. And that was held there at the ranch.
Right. Kimberly, to answer your question, probably none of Philly Dom's tonight. He makes long videos, so we only have an hour or so. But I like to watch his stuff.
Yeah. Lead RV.
But this is stuff that, you know, the media is not going to show you.
Right. Yeah, this is definitely stuff the media is not going to show you. And later at the end of that video, they were trying to figure out if any governors were going to show up, if anybody else was speaking, and they were kind of saying that, well, we really don't know. We really don't have a paper telling us all. So although it seemed pretty organized there, I don't think it was like having speakers come up and stuff like that. They probably didn't pay for anybody. So that's probably why, because you usually have to pay for speakers for stuff like that. So,
well, and the thing about it is our logbook host, Kimberly Moyers, she was on an interview through the media, mainstream media. She was given exactly one sentence of airtime.
Yeah, they didn't give her hardly any time. And I do know that news station, it is a local station in San Antonio, which I think is about the closest you can get to the border as far as big cities go. So, yeah, I'll pop her interview up on, or the interview.
But, you know, you really have to look for the link too. It's like 3 words, which is like 6 words less than what she actually got to say.
Yeah, and you actually, even if you go to the, oh, wow. What in the world does that mean? Said YouTube is blocked. Okay, maybe this will pull it up.
Is that the address to the link of her actual interview?
What?
The one that you said YouTube's blocked?
Oh no, it was when I clicked on YouTube, it did it. I got it to come up though, just through the news site. So here we go. And this is actually just a redo of the story because it was talking about an old one. So an old story when Abbott prepares to visit protest convoy. I don't know if he ever showed up or not. So, but
yeah, he actually did.
Is mounting ahead of Governor Greg Abbott's visit to Eagle Pass on Sunday. Now, a convoy calling itself God's Army made its way to Eagle Pass on Friday. This afternoon, the group held a rally calling for more border security. KENS 5's Mike Jimenez is at the border and spoke to attendees. Plus, why a group of faith leaders is asking the governor not to visit Eagle Pass.
Organizers of Saturday's
give them a
rally say they
word.
want to spread awareness to issues here at the border, and they hope legislators hear their call to action.
The amount of trafficking,
There's
the amount of drugs, the amount of everything that's coming across the border is hurting people.
Hundreds of people came out to Quemado, which is about 20 miles north of Eagle.
And out of the whole interview, that was her one line that she got for that whole interview.
Yeah. Hello, Ruth. Hello, Ross.
After a whole interview,
Thank
they
you
put
for
up-
joining
they
us.
put up one line.
That's it.
I tagged Ross and Ruth in there. So
Awesome.
how are y'all doing tonight? Yeah, that was one line they put. And of course, they even gave pictures to. There was about 2 more minutes of that interview or segment going on, and it was still talking more about the poor people not getting able to or protesting, or protesting the protesters, I guess you'd say.
Well, actually,
So-
Kimberly, they did have it kind of roped off for all the governors to visit and do their little speeches down there. But then they did have a rolling rally,
Yeah,
and they had some walk-in protesters, about 20 people, that the police had a hard time keeping out of the roadway. And the police was like, no, you're going to get back on the sidewalk or you won't be here.
yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Pretty much.
So, yeah,
Yeah, it probably was.
it was one of those things that, yeah, they showed up to show out. They got pretty much sidelined and said, this is where you're going to protest. You're not going to stand in the middle of the road. You're not going to block the roads.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what was happening on that. So,
And,
here's
we
oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Chad.
No, I was just going to say, here's the one from California, but go ahead and finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's
I
one.
was fixing to bring, we're great minds are thinking alike, because I was fixing to say, we even have, video of California's rally.
Yes, and something I've tried to look at on this is how many Texas flags, this was from 2 days ago, how many Texas flags and California license plates are on these cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always tell the California tags because like the whole plate's filled with a number, and you can usually see California written in cursive, and they have to have front and rear license plates also. So yeah, it's this one was kind of amazing to me. It's about 13 minutes long. I don't know if we'll play the whole 13 minutes or not, but I want to get at least one part on there of the protester. So
Yep.
here we go. Both of those trucks are Californias. Well, white Chevy might not be. He don't have no front license plate. Yep, police everywhere. They're just waving them on.
Yep.
That's a blue Honda's a California flag, but or California tag. He's got Trump 24.
And we had people even on the sidewalks helping.
I guess this is the Puma line and the other line ain't.
Said this is the boomer line.
It's over 2 minutes.
There's your Texas flag hanging there, and your Christian flag. I wonder if this little maroon Toyota Camry down here, I think that's what it is. It doesn't even have a license plate on it. I wonder if somebody already stole it.
That's possible. See, people actually turned up and to show their support of the border control.
And there ain't no shootings. There ain't no violence. All the bikers showing up.
Yep.
That guy brings his trailer.
There you
thing. Oh, he's running for Senate. Okay. Wonder if that'll convince anybody.
It may.
And you see, they're not out blocking the highways and chaining themselves, making a chain across the road like some of these protesters like to do. I see another Texas flag back there, except for it's upside down.
Well, sign of distress.
Maybe I was thinking maybe that's the. I was looking at it. I don't see the American flag upside down.
It does my heart good to see people come out like this.
Yeah, me too.
It shows that
They
people
won't show
really
you on the
actually do
news.
care. Yeah. I haven't seen this anywhere on the news, and thanks to all these YouTubers who go out and get this video and upload it.
Yeah.
It screws with the algorithms, but it's truth. People need to see this.
Well, I mean, even if it was on the news, they showed it like San Antonio did with the logbook. They showed freaking one sentence.
Yeah.
You know, out of a whole interview, they showed one sentence.
Yep.
Now, I will say it seems to me the police are pretty cooperative. I didn't hear about a bunch of people getting arrested from any of these protests.
Yep.
And a lot of bikers are pretty patriotic anyway. I don't know if they'd probably fly a flag on the back of their car anyways, or their motorcycle anyway.
Yep. Just a quiet rolling rally.
Yeah. I mean, people waving at them and stuff. Oh, our fat possum showed up.
Yep.
Hang on.
Oh, well, there's the one anti-protester. I hear him coming. And folks, yeah, I did see this video.
Oh, there's another Texas flag on that orange Tacoma. up
Yep.
there.
But see, it's not just a border crisis with Texas. It's New Mexico, Arizona. We even are having problems in Oregon, Idaho, Montana, North
yeah.
Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan, New York.
A lot of these places are supporting Texas because they're the only state fighting back right now. So they might be
We're
in
just not.
California, but
Yeah, there was 4 major points for rallies.
right. But I didn't hear about any of them except for Texas. And
There you go. Okay.
see that little notice up there at the top? Whoops, it went away. California is offering free health care to all migrants.
Yep.
Going through all the way to the front of the line.
And guess who's going to pay for it? The residents. Not the federal government, the residents.
All those people with California cars. Hopefully they're all honking for the cameraman
They are.
instead of trying to.
Make some noise and show out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's an Arizona tag right there on that white truck.
Chad, you start to sound like a truck driver now.
That's from living in
Where's
Florida.
the Florida
right there.
tag?
I hadn't seen
Where's
one
the
yet.
Florida tag?
There's another Arizona tag. I see all kinds here in Florida, so that's how you know when the seasons change, is when the tags change colors.
But doesn't it just do your heart good to see these folks out there showing their patriotic spirit and support for a sovereign American border?
I don't understand why
because a
such a hard
country
thing
without a sovereign, secure border has lost its sovereignty.
Exactly. I thought that guy drove through by now. Stay walking, though. I hadn't seen any pictures of MAGA Megan, huh? If you're going to get pulled over there, bro, you can't even see your tag. There's California with a Texas flag.
Yep. It just does my heart good to see all these folks out here showing their spirit.
I thought that was gunfire the first time I heard it. And you're going to get pulled over for not being able to see out your windows. I think all these on the right are part. There's your Florida tag right there.
Yep, there it is. There it is. I've seen my Florida tag for the day. It's a good day.
I guess that's a good idea if you're parked to have the flag covering your plate, though.
Well, some people are afraid of retribution, retaliation. We see what happened with January 6th.
Hey, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I was saying that's a good idea. I was saying that was a good idea. Yeah, he's got InfoWars bumper sticker.
Yep. But see, it's not like 5 or 6 people out there showing their butt or 20 cars. There are hundreds here.
Yeah, there are hundreds. Let's go, Brandon.
And, yep, take back our border. There you go.
I escaped
You
from
need
the
to learn
country
how
in
to
this
park
country
better,
by
buddy.
boat. So I know what the real coming is.
There's
There
another
you go,
California
folks.
with a Texas flag on it.
We are the best company organized
Here
for
we
a
go.
real revolution. And we call on people to look at what these people are doing. They're complaining
Oh, there's the
about an
anti-protester.
invasion because they want to enforce an open white supremacist society. They complain about trans people existing. They complain about supposedly letting terrorists over the border. They want to enforce the ugliest shit that America has
In a
always been.
1995.
A system founded on slavery and genocide, including all over the world.
Got to rent a U-Haul truck to come do this.
One anti-protester in
That
California.
tells you a lot right there. We got to get a U-Haul truck to come. Yep, with all them people.
Oh my God.
So, and I think that's how a lot of California really is. Whenever I talk to people from California, I know I got into an argument with a guy on a Facebook page, and it was a totally irrelevant to what it was. It was about Texas not putting anything on Patrol Live anymore, and they actually passed a law to where Texas couldn't be on any more live shows like that because I think Live PD actually messed up and showed a guy getting shot by the police in the middle of the show. So, but yeah, and they were blaming it on Abbott and everything else. And then, of course, it went to the border. And then me and like these two other people got in an argument with this guy saying that Texas was breaking Supreme Court law or whatever by putting up the border wire fencing. And it's like, no, it says they can cut it. Not that they can't put it up, that the border guards can cut it. Not that they can't put it up. Of course, I got a friend that's a border guard, works for Border Patrol, and he says that Texas is blocking them from doing stuff. And I was like, well, I got friends down there too. And they're saying the government's just letting them in. How did 300,000 people cross if Biden's Border Patrol was actually working? Because that's how many crossed before they put up the border or before they started putting up the wires and stuff. Yep. So you tell me again how well Biden's border policy is working. Of course, then he went to go say that he didn't support Biden or anything. So,
aww,
because he's up in Oregon or something like that, or somewhere up north to where one of the states where Iowa or something like that, to where they don't even have to deal with it. So, or haven't had to deal with it yet. All these places like that. Hey, it's coming. I'm telling you that right now.
It's coming. It's really coming. I mean, they had the Roosevelt Zone, which is 100 yards on both sides of the river that the federals can operate in.
Right.
But outside that 100-yard zone, that's Texas ground. Texas has the right to put up their own wall.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what Texas is doing.
Say that. He kind of got quit chatting that much, and then the original poster cut off the commenting to it. But whenever I was saying, hey, they're putting it up around, there's a buffer zone between the federal border where they can't cut off, and they can go on the outside and cut it too if they want to. So it doesn't just.
And there's trucks rolling right back in there with more razor wire that they're going to replace it with.
Hey, that's not what I clicked on. Sorry. Hold on.
But, every state has the right by their own constitution to defend their borders.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to, which is what all of these states should be doing. But I've noticed that New York's been changing their mind a lot.
New York is that they're treading water up there, very deep water.
Very deep water.
And they're trying to figure out how to best solve the solutions with the migrants in their sanctuary city that they can.
Yes, they are. And they're, from what I've seen, I don't know if the New York City Housing Authority is handling this or if it's something else that's doing it. I didn't want that to come up quite yet. But I'm not sure how they're doing it. But here's a story that I found right before the show that I guess is going down today that has to do with the New York City Housing Authority.
Ooh.
Money, money, money. All right.
Money.
Oh, yeah. New York City, Mayor Adams, y'all are in trouble.
So let's see what he has to say about it.
Charged in the largest in the history of the Department of Justice.
The allegations involve nearly 1/3 of NYCHA's 2,400 buildings in New York City, a huge breach of trust. The workers accused of taking $2 million in kickbacks from contractors.
The U.S. Attorney's Office calls it a classic pay-to-play scheme. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live outside federal court in Lower Manhattan, where we expect the suspects to appear. Kimberly?
And yes, Sandra, right now, the defendants at the center of this sweeping takedown, they're upstairs, judges in 7 different courtrooms. Those alleged payoffs, 500 here, 2,000 there, doesn't sound like much, but over time adds up. One retired super who once worked at a complex, a NYCHA complex in Brooklyn, she allegedly took $15,000 in bribes, calling all of this, quote, her side hustle.
There are nearly 100 dots on this.
That's what it's called now.
U.S. Attorney Damian Williams says represents NYCHA complexes in the 5 boroughs. There are 335 where classic pay-to-play schemes were the norm. Officials maintain these current and former employees allegedly used their jobs to line their pockets with money through backdoor deals. Here at the Walled Houses in the East Village, Assistant Super Danny Muniz allegedly took home $3,000 in cash. Lillian has lived here for nearly 5 decades.
There's a lot of things that's going on, and they don't care.
The alleged activity dates back to 2013, but this morning their house of cards came crashing down. Law enforcement arrested 66 people in 6 states. A total of 70 are named in the complaint. Authorities maintain the defendants used their power as supers and assistant supers to exploit the no-bid process, or so-called micro purchases for jobs under $10,000 and window repairs. But according to court documents, before a contractor could get the job or be paid for doing the work, they would have to give that NYCHA employee a cut.
And many contractors paid these bribes because if they didn't, the defendants would give these jobs to someone else.
Officials point out NYCHA has recently been in the hot
Isn't that what
seat
they call
in
the union?
2021 and the following year.
Exactly.
The City Department of Investigation made recommendations after it found problems with contractors at city complexes in Brooklyn.
There were reforms made to the micro purchase process. They, in our view, did not go far enough. And I think the fact that we're here today shows that they did not go far enough.
So the processes that they set up didn't work, huh? Their no bid process didn't work. Wow.
No big process.
So now y'all are coming down on something that been going on for a decade in a city like that, and y'all are just now figuring it out with over 70 people, 2/3 of the buildings under control of the New York Housing Authority were involved.
Yep.
Tell me that ain't passing the buck along. Somebody's getting paid on and on up the chain. And then you also wonder about why housing prices might be skyrocketing in places.
They need to launder more money, so they need to be able to jack the prices up wherever they seem
Yes, that is
able
I mean,
to.
that is just amazing to me. I guess it's not really amazing to me. It's kind of like, who would have guessed it type of thing. But you know. yeah, you know.
I've been guessing it for a long time. And people just call me a conspiracy theorist.
And there you go, Vince. They're not calling it pay to play. Yeah, that's exactly what it's called.
It's called kickbacks.
Yes.
And now side hustles.
Side hustle. Yeah, pay to play sounds better, but that's my side hustle.
Well, there you go. That's what that woman in Michigan was saying. This is my side hustle.
How much more blatantly clear can you make it that you're ripping off people than just calling it your side hustle? I mean, I get side hustle doesn't necessarily mean illegal, but I mean, that's a freaking slang term. You don't go and say, you know, that's my side hustle. You know, it's kind of like you're my side chick. You know, I'm not putting that up here, Vince.
I was fixing to say we ain't putting that up there. We want, positive comments,
Yeah, I don't want our channels to get banned.
creative comments.
So yeah, how much? I don't know. I mean, I know what to say about it, but it's just amazing that they. I mean,
It's just another way to blue and screw American people who are busting their asses just trying to make a living to get by.
and I mean, a lot of these people are tired of this stuff. I mean, it's kind of like the whole racist thing and everything else. Like that guy was in there talking about white supremacy, going down the thing and going down the road, trying to in his U-Haul truck with his loudspeaker on and everything. I saw a video and it was like getting destroyed on YouTube. This lady that put out a TikTok video talking about how time is based on white supremacy.
Yep.
Because being late is something everybody but white people do.
No, I know a lot of white people's late.
Yeah, that was
they couldn't get there on time if they had to.
Yeah, that's what the people screaming back at her were saying. It was like, no, you being late is a lack of people's time, a lack of respect. That's narcissistic to think that you're so important because of your race that I should have to wait on you. And it was saying black people are always late. And it was like, no. Most of the black people I know, if they're late, they're calling
very punctual
or apologizing or,
most people who have a responsible, if they're running behind or they get unavoidably detained, they call ahead and say, look, I'm running 10 or 15 minutes behind, and give them a reason.
Yeah.
A legitimate reason. I'll be right there.
I mean,
so,
yeah,
it just irritates me sometimes because they say stupid racist crap based on somebody's skin color. I hate racism. I really hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
New York looking at the news in New York, they have totally flipped on some of their switches with these migrants, because these migrants are that before you'd look at a year ago, 6 months ago, even you'd look at New York City and there was nothing on there except for about migrants coming in and blaming it all on Texas. Now it's like, hey, the migrants are here. What the heck are we going to do about them? They're still coming in.
Yeah, because they're not going away. We had the 4 migrants that beat up the 2 cops there in New York City that went to court. The next morning when they got out of jail, they got a bus ticket and was flown to, California. Imagine that.
This is also from last night. I was going to wait till after we showed the one about taking the border back, but or about the new debit cards that migrants are going to get. But since you said the cops, I'll go ahead and play this one too.
Well, I mean, they're coming in here. We're not getting the creme de la creme. Every country's emptying out their prison systems and their psych wards and sending them over here.
Pretty much.
You get down around the Darien Gap and there's like $3.6 million that they're paying to come in there so that they can walk into America.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
And that was the last number I heard.
Here's one from today with more migrants getting in trouble. So let's go ahead and roll this one.
While now about a group of migrants connected to a string of robberies, and today the NYPD is taking action. But ICE officials tell us that when it comes to migrants committing crime, what they can do is limited because of the city's sanctuary status.
We're no longer contacted. We're no longer called.
The federal government's ability to deport migrants accused of a crime is limited, according to Kenneth Janello, who oversees operations of immigration and customs enforcement in New York City. Janello says that since 2014, when the city council passed its sanctuary city laws, ICE's partnership with the city went out the window. Now, instead of getting notified when a migrant is being accused of a crime, he says they find out through the media.
Instead of being able to take custody of these individuals in the confines of a jail or in the confines of a precinct, we now have to go out into the community and the streets where unfortunately the criminals have the upper hand.
This call for cooperation follows an attack against police officers carried out by more than a dozen migrants. 6 people have been arrested so far, and only 1 was held on bail. 4 of the migrants are believed to have skipped town after their arraignment and took a bus headed to California. We asked if there was no sanctuary city law on the books, if these migrants would have been detained after leaving court.
As long as NYPD contacted us, yes.
Mayor Eric Adams continued to say on Monday he believes those responsible should be deported. However, he wouldn't say whether he supports the city's sanctuary status, just that it's not up to him.
All you did is say to deport them to freaking California.
That was passed. And so the city council must review that.
Meanwhile, on Monday morning, the NYPD arrested around 7 migrants accused of carrying out around 62 robberies. Many of these migrants used mopeds and electric scooters to snatch things like...
Did you see that one? Look at what they did to that lady, trying to steal her stuff when they were on a moped. Philly Dom is who... Kimberly was talking about. He goes all around and says all around New York, around these migrant hotels, and said you can tell everywhere the migrants are staying because they'll have little electric motor scooters sitting outside that they use for deliveries for food, and can rent them for like $300 a week or something like that. But they can make about $500 off of food deliveries, or as you see in this, a day, off robberies. Here's
Many of these migrants used mopeds and electric scooters
Jeez,
to snatch things like iPhones and wallets. These men then sold the phones to the migrant posing as a ringleader who would hack the phones to steal a person's bank information. The NYPD says these migrants primarily live in city-run shelters.
In recent months, a wave of migrant crime has washed over our city. They're essentially ghost criminals.
You think?
No criminal history, no photos, no cell phone. Today is a hard-fought win.
You think, people? We got migrant crime.
PD says they are also investigating possible human trafficking at city-run shelters. Now, when it comes to those police officers,
wow, can you believe that? They might
Oh
also
my
be
gosh.
participating in human smuggling or human trafficking. Wow. If only somebody would have thought of that before.
Oh, wait a minute, Chad. We did. We've been talking about it for months.
That's right.
We have been talking about it for months. And
So I
now
also
they're
found
just
out-
getting their heads out of their backsides and figuring it out that, hey, look, we're not just conspiracy theorists. We are saying factual stuff. Welcome to
so-
America's nightmare.
I don't want to play the same story over and over again on that, but is what they're doing evidently is what another one of those stories said that didn't talk about as much about the migrants and the police as it did with the migrants in the crime spree they were on. But evidently is what they're doing is they're taking the phones, they're hacking into the phones, stealing as much data off of them as they can, then sending them to somewhere in South America to have them completely wiped, and then
And
turning
wandered
around
back.
and selling them as, So then they'll just send them back as refurbished or used phones since there's no data left on them,
But how
And I
many
don't know,
people are using the Swipe and Go app? How many have their banking institutions?
Yeah, that's what they were talking about. Cash App. They were talking about how WhatsApp is what they were using a lot of it for.
WhatsApp, Cash App. You have your
Cash App,
financial. You have your financial institutions. I know I've got both of mine on there. If
Yep.
somebody stole my phone, I would be freaking out.
Yeah. So Kimberly, you were talking about MS-13. This one's one that's a recent thing, but an MS-13 member that came over here over a decade or almost a decade ago and was undocumented. But I'll go ahead and just play this story. This is from Silver Spring, Maryland, I believe. It's just north of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play this one. I know this is kind of a surprise one too, Sally.
Hey, I
know,
like surprises. I like surprises every now and then.
I got a helicopter flying over me. So let's look at another Fox 5 one.
And the big story tonight at 10 o'clock, ICE catching an MS-13 gang member in Silver Spring who was back on the streets despite being convicted for accessory to murder charges.
Fox 5's Jacqueline Matter speaking exclusively with ICE officials about this case tonight. Jacqueline?
Well, guys, this arrest comes after this illegal gang member spent months behind bars. Then he was released from jail, even though ICE had requested to take him into custody so he could be deported.
A judge sentencing the 30-year-old MS-13 gang member to 5 years behind bars, with the court suspending all but 18 months of his sentence. When it came time to release him, he was freed despite an ICE detainer.
We lodged a detainer with the Montgomery County Detention Center. They actually called us and said they were not going to honor the detainer and advising us that they were releasing him.
According to ICE, the gang member was here from El Salvador and crossed the border in 2006 as an unaccompanied minor. He was later reunited with his uncle in Washington, D.C.
Which, by the way, if nobody knows, El Salvador is their chief entry port into South America because they don't request or demand passports.
Yeah, that's true.
Or visas.
Yep.
That's where everybody's coming in, and then they're walking into Colombia at the Darien Gap to come through. That's where all the numbers are being accumulated there. Hey, Deborah. How you doing, beautiful? And I don't mean that sexually. You are a beautiful woman.
I agree. But yeah, I tagged Debbie tonight. I know she's usually working, but I tagged her tonight to see if she wanted to watch. But
thank you for stopping by.
They're over here talking about how this guy had an ICE detainer on him right at Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
He had an ICE retainer on him. And they called ICE and said, "We're not honoring your detainer. We're letting him go." That is absolutely insane.
And you know, I've been watching. I've been CIA binge watching here lately. And to me, that just screams that, you know, maybe he's an inside informant.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess that could be true. I'll play the rest of this. It's only about
Go ahead.
Long.
Go ahead, sir.
Judge ordered him to be deported in 2007, but that happened. Instead, he got involved with MS-13 in the DMV.
What can you tell me about the prevalence of MS-13, specifically in Montgomery County, Maryland?
They're involved in everything, any and everything. Assaults, robberies, murder, clearly in this case, a huge number. And it's just not Montgomery County. I mean, they're showing up in every county in the state of Maryland.
Despite this man's conviction, he was released back onto the streets. Why? Well, ICE says it falls in line with sanctuary policies in jurisdictions like Montgomery County.
Criminal enterprises are talking amongst themselves. They understand that and saying, hey, we can operate in these areas because ICE can't do anything to us.
But according to a release in 2021, Montgomery County is not a sanctuary jurisdiction and works with ICE for serious crimes. In fact, the spokesperson for Mark Elrich's office telling us that they were unaware of this incident and they had no ICE detainer on file.
What's frustrating to me, to be honest, is that the lack of communication for
not a sanctuary city and showed nothing on file, but Montgomery County called ICE to tell them they were not honoring their detainer. How
do you do that? How do you tell one government agency from another government agency, hey,
I mean,
Go pound sand.
I guess they just threw it out, you know. So who knows? That guy's face does not screenshot.
Hey,
well.
Robin.
The most egregious offenders.
Recent data from ICE shows that Maryland led the country in sex offender arrests involving non-citizens, with Montgomery and Prince George's County making up nearly 50% of those numbers. Maryland also trending number 2 in the country when it comes to gangs, behind LA.
The numbers do not lie. Where is ICE? Well, ICE is not involved because the jurisdictions won't talk to us. They won't cooperate with us. So what's it going to take for folks to demand to be safe?
Now, ICE agents were able to find this gang member and rearrested him at his home in Silver Spring earlier this week. I am told he is currently in custody and in the process of being taken back to El Salvador. Back to
What kind of crazy crap is that? You're not even a sanctuary city or sanctuary county, and you still can't get detained by ICE. They still let you go, and then your city is the second highest ranking city for gang members between LA and Chicago. Baltimore, I know it's big, but it ain't that big. You know, that is just sad. Now,
and you're welcome, Ruth.
We can probably talk a little bit through this one, but I know we're running out of time here. But I also wanted to show the one you sent me about the prepaid credit cards.
Oh, yeah, we got to touch that one. We got to show that one.
Yeah.
That one's just, it just blew my mind. And I've been seeing it on the government websites.
I have been too, and I've been seeing a lot of it this is another thing whenever New York News has started covering a lot more. This is something else that has got New Yorkers enraged because they're
going to have to pay for it. The federal government's not paying for it. They're going to pay for it.
Yeah, these New Yorkers don't know what to say whenever it comes to this stuff. They're like, I'm all for migration and stuff like that, but y'all are destroying our city, you know, in more ways than one. So, oh, come on, screen, time to share.
And the bad thing is we started out showing this about a year ago.
Yeah. And this one over here is saying Texas slams New York over free prepaid credit cards issued to migrants. This is actually talking about Texas government slamming New York government. And even New York governors, or not governors, but officials in New York are even getting really tired of this, as you'll see from this video.
Yep.
New York is going to be spending $50 to come up with prepaid credit cards for the illegal migrants. What is behind this? Why do they need prepaid credit cards?
It sounds like insanity is behind it because it really is offensive. It may be the most reprehensible thing that I've seen take place over the past 48 hours when you see police officers in New York City being beaten by illegal immigrants in this country who should not be in the country in the first place.
Well, questions being raised tonight about a new pilot program that'll give migrant families a reloadable prepaid credit card to buy food and baby supplies.
All right, it would replace the food boxes given to asylum seekers staying in hotels.
In New York City, 70,000 flooded in over the past year, straining local resources. Washington has been all but deaf to the needs.
Oh, my God.
Even though the president is as the mayor, New York.
So 70,000 into New York. That's less than a third of what came over the border in Eagle Pass in December.
In 1 month.
In 1 month. So, all right, keep on.
Eric Adams and the governor, Governor Kathy Hochul. So the mayor announced a new $53 million plan to give migrants prepaid meal cards. Adams says this is cheaper in the long run. Critics say, no, it isn't. You shouldn't be spending any of this money, and it's only going to encourage migrants to come to the Big Apple. And taxpayers are going to have to pay for it, and they're going to wind up getting things that the taxpayers who are paying for it can't get.
If this is successful, we're going to expand it even more.
The pilot program drawing immediate criticism, including from rapper 50 Cent, who went on to social media to vent his frustration, writing, "Maybe Trump is the answer."
I told 50 Cent to hit me up. I would love to explain it to him.
Wrap your head, if we could, around $9.8 million a day for people who have crossed the border illegally. This is illegal. They did not come in the right way. These are illegal immigrants coming in that we, the hardworking people of this state, no matter where you come from, you're here legally. You're footing the bill. This is wrong, absolutely wrong. And like I said to you earlier, this has become a bottomless pit and there's no end in sight. It's time to cut it off.
Well, New York's migrant crisis is now hurting the bank accounts of city workers that people rely on most. You're talking about police, fire, sanitation, and corrections departments. They've all been directed to cut overtime to help trim their budgets by 5%. Mayor Eric Adams wanting to end overtime for officers and firefighters to pay for the 100,000 migrants who have arrived in the Big Apple over the last year. With no end in sight, Adams estimating that caring for all of these people will cost billions.
Some migrant families will soon be given prepaid credit cards to buy food and baby supplies. The mayor's office says the city is partnering with Mobility Capital Finance to launch a more cost-effective program. Right now, the city has contracts with food services who provide non-perishable food boxes to shelters. They will start with 500 migrant families with children in short-term hotel stays. The cards can only be used at bodegas, grocery stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores.
We're just giving this migrant population more free stuff at the expense of New York City taxpayers.
So it sounds like their little migrant cards are less restrictive than what a normal food stamp card would be. Yeah, EBTs. Less restrict. Well, they're probably less restrictive than an EBT card is, because I don't know how it is in New York. It wouldn't kill me if it was different, but it says that's all they're supposed to buy. It doesn't say that's all they can buy. And a bodega, grocery store, stuff like that sells pretty much anything most people would want to get, except for maybe drugs.
But how many of these stores are getting robbed?
Yeah, that's another
shoplifting. Thing. So they're not buying the stuff; they're going in to steal it.
Only will this provide.
I'm not trying to keep talking over you there with this thing, so, but yeah, here we go. Let me go.
Families with the ability to purchase fresh food of their culturally relevant diets and the baby supplies of their choosing. But the pilot program is expected to save New York City more than $600,000 per month, or more than $7.2 million annually.
I know you know this. New York Democrats have obviously been critical of the tactics border state leaders like Governor Greg Abbott have taken to handle the crisis with the busing. New York has long been a sanctuary city, saying come one, come all. I'm curious if you think after all that you have witnessed, the attitudes towards states like Texas and Arizona have changed now that you're getting a taste of it yourself, and if New York still welcomes people with open arms.
Well, once again, we reach a pinnacle here where we discuss Democrats versus Republicans. You know, the Republicans are saying what they're saying now, close the border. We have to stop condemning Abbott and any of the other border states.
So you fix the problem in New York and you create a new one at the border. What's the response been from the mayor and other New York officials?
I'm not going to be thankful that a program that was bloated and inefficient is somehow cheaper to just give away free money to people in the hopes that they feed themselves.
According to the New York Post, this pilot program will cost the city $53 million. The amount loaded on the card will depend on the family size. The families who get these credit cards will be required to sign an affidavit swearing they will only use them for food or baby supplies. Those who
like they're actually going to stick to it.
We have got an overflow here of now, 110,000 migrants that are here. And this has gone on way too long. The numbers have grown every week now. Last week was 104. Week before that was 100. Now we're 110. What's the real number out there? Nobody really knows, because nobody's really keeping track of exactly what's going on in this city. It's reached a proportion where it's impossible to keep track of. And now we're talking about cutting our budget. Are you kidding me? To our police, we're looking at 5% in November, We're looking at 5% in January, and we are looking at as much as another 5% come early spring. That's 15%. 15% to a police department that's already suffering and cannot do their jobs, 15%. As well as our fire department. Key agency.
It's the latest effort by New York City officials to deal with the ongoing migrant surge. More than 173,000 migrants and asylum seekers have arrived in New York City since the spring of 2022. Both the New York Democratic governor and the mayor have been pleading for federal support, insisting the city is at a breaking point.
This has hurt us. And where the White House needs to make adjustments.
And you see some of these images, you see some of these people in New York City committing crimes, and the sense of entitlement on some of these illegal aliens is unbelievable. They act like they have a right to illegally come into our country. I'm sorry, you do not have that right. And if we were a country that was serious, we'd be sending these people back home to their home countries. That's how you enforce the rule of law. Biden's not doing that. He could secure the border if he wanted to, and he's choosing not to do it. So I don't think they're going to end up with any type of legislation that's going to actually solve the problem. I think in some respects it may codify the problems and kind of give Biden a campaign issue to where he says, oh, well, they wouldn't give me the authority. He has the authority now. If he wanted to do it, Biden could do this if he wanted to. I mean, he doesn't need legislation. I know they're working on it. Everything I've heard about it is that it's a disaster, what they're doing in Washington, because they're servicing other interests rather than your interests. But he could do it right now if he wanted to. And instead, what they're doing is he has threatened to actually go in and remove barricades that Texas has put up to let more people come into this country illegally.
Police do not track crime committed by the undocumented, but the attack on police officers comes as a growing number of arrests can be linked to residents of migrant shelters. Arrest records show residents living at 30 of the city's 200 migrant shelters have been arrested more than 1,200 times in the last year. City records show the top crimes include petty larceny, assault, grand larceny, endangering the welfare of a child, and robbery.
Yeah, what you're seeing is city, state, and federal policy from Democratic lawmakers coming to a head, and it's really become a disaster for our communities. This is just one video that we've seen. And this is something that is unacceptable. It's like going to somebody's house for dinner and you break all the china. I mean, you outdo your welcome. And the fact that the taxpayers that I represent are being forced by this mayor to continue to house these individuals in luxury hotels, provide their every need, even legal services they're paying for, laundry services, is just unacceptable.
More than 80% of New Yorkers say that the recent migrant influx is a serious problem.
When migrants first came to sanctuary cities, Democrats rolled out the red carpet. They pitched them wedding tents, filled them with recliners, popcorn machines, Xboxes. Leaders of sanctuary cities campaigned on the issue and boasted about all the illegals they'd let in. But house guests can only stay for so long before getting on your nerves. The migrants are now causing trouble in the communities that were forced to take them in.
Keep the wall up with a door in it. Welcoming people, but welcoming people the right way. Controlling how many people come in every day. Wrap your head, if we could, around $9.8 million a day for people who have crossed the border illegally. This is illegal. They did not come in the right way. These are illegal immigrants coming in that we, the hardworking people of this state, no matter where you come from, you're here legally. You're footing the bill. This is wrong, absolutely wrong. And like I said to you earlier, this has become a bottomless pit and there's no end in sight. It's time to cut it off. That's the only thing that's going to work here. You know, when they come from these other countries, this is heaven. This is heaven. Even if they're sleeping in a cot in a park or somebody's backyard or front steps, that's inhumane, but they're happy with it because it's better than where they come from. You know, I think not. I think not. And, you know, they're quick to blame the border states, Texas and the other border states. Imagine they've been putting up with this for years and years and years. And now we're getting a taste of it with 107,000. That's like a shot glass over Niagara Falls. It's time to close the border, Brittany. It's time to close the border. And if we're not going to close the border, which we know Biden has no intentions of doing that, then it's time for the individual states to say no more. We're back to that again.
If we put up resistance, we show that we can secure the border. Joe Biden should not be stopping that.
And,
all 25 of them.
25 states
And
have
something else I see them
started sending their National Guards and contributing, whatever they need to help Texas close the border. And it has slowed the flow down. Everything they're doing is working. Okay, 27. My bad.
Now, so.
But you know what? We got to do something.
And,
if we don't take our nation back, we're not going to be a sovereign nation.
You're right.
That's a pile of shit.
You're right.
Well, you know what?
That's a long message up there, Dion. You're covering up our faces and everything. So, but yeah, I mean,
yep.
They you can tell these people. I mean,
it's mind blowing at the numbers. They're saying, oh, we can save $600,000 a day. Was it 7.2 billion or $1 million a year? I got a better idea. Take that $600,000 and just line them up at the airport, put them on a ship, send them back.
Even
we can
Bill
save a whole
Maher
lot more.
Even Bill Maher is saying that he said he thinks Trump's going to win.
Oh yeah, all the influencers I've been listening to, all the polls I've been seeing, everybody's screaming for Trump back in office.
Well, like you seen on there, 50 Cent over here, like, maybe Trump, maybe it was better with Trump, or we need Trump again, or something like that. And it's kind of like,
maybe Trump was the answer.
Yeah. And I mean, Bill Maher's got toxic Trump derangement syndrome. So he absolutely hates freaking Trump. And he's like, well, you know why Trump's going to win, don't you? And it's like Seth MacFarlane, and I think it was Adam Schiff or something that was on his show. And he's like, because people don't want to think of boys are boys and girls are girls is one thing. People don't want their daughters in a bathroom or their daughters participating in sports with boys. And then Seth MacFarlane's like, well, that's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. And he's like, this is what people care about.
It's like some big weird science experiment with them.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So,
and next week I have a feeling Chad and I are going to be touching on that hard to talk about topic. So stay tuned next week. We're going to be getting in some deep do.
I was trying to find one of the short videos, but
stir the poo-poo pot.
I can't find one of them now, but
let's do a hashtag right quick.
Oh yeah, let's do
see.
A hashtag
what are we going to do? CTW.
Yeah, hashtag CTW. Commented or CTN. CTW, CTN.
Close the wall.
Oh, close the wall. Okay, yeah. Hashtag
close the wall. CTW.
Hashtag CTW. You can enter to win a free flag. Is it a flag tonight?
I believe so.
Dion, or is it a patch?
What we got tonight, D? D?
He's down there typing something, so he's got.
Well, if he's typing in messages, I don't see it.
It is going to be the Trump flag.
Trump flag.
Trump flag.
Hashtag
Pound CTW.
And while we're giving time for that, here's the video I was trying to find. Ross Golden. That is a do a hashtag like that, or like Ruth did, and we'll put you in a drawing for a fleet.
There you go.
Trump flag.
Not
So-
a fleet flag. It's a free
No, not a-
flag.
Not a flea flag. Is that like flag lice? Hold on, I'm going to put this
Ah.
video up here while everybody enters real quick, Dion. So put your CTW.
We'll give
up
you
there.
a few minutes.
This
Get your pound CTW up there.
Yeah, get your pound CTW. We'll give you. This is 5-minute warning. So
Okay. I'm just giving you the answer to the question you're asking all night long.
That's Bill Maher rendering his guests speechless by explaining the real reason he thinks voters want to support Trump.
I actually thought
Welcome
this
to
was the
Nurk
whole
News.
video, but-
I'm Nurkish. Today we're taking a few minutes to break down a clip of Bill Maher that's been going viral. It looks like Stephen A. Smith and Adam Schiff got into a debate about whether or not Republicans want to suppress voting rights altogether, and Bill offered a surprisingly accurate insight that stunned his panel.
I respect the fact that you don't share my pessimism. I truly do. I understand where you're coming from.
I can't stand
But
this guy.
I think that's part of the problem. I think the
stand
Democratic Party
him
should
either.
share my pessimism. I think they should be on high alert. I think they need to treat him with the seriousness that it deserves, because you having a lot of faith in the American people. The man did get over 74 million votes. You've got people that are looking at Joe Biden. I'm not going to call him a cognitive mess or anything like that. That's very disrespectful. I would never speak about our president that way. But when you're
Oh, but you
82
spoke
years
about
of
Trump
age,
that way.
it's not offensive to say you're no longer a spring chicken and you don't seem to have the level of vibe and the energy that you once used to have. And so you take that into consideration. You take that into consideration. You can't ignore the fact that this man is a threat.
Oh, make no mistake. I take him as serious as a heart attack.
Okay.
I'm optimistic, but we're going to have to fight tooth and nail. And one of the biggest obstacles we're going to have to overcome is all the efforts to prevent people from voting.
Okay.
We're going to have to turn out our people. We're going to have to work like never before. We're going to have to work like our democracy is on the line, because it damn well is.
Right.
I don't. So I take this as a heart attack.
Let's interject one thing into this discussion about Trump that we've been having all night. It was a question I was going to ask you. We ran out of time.
Sure.
The Atlantic put out an article last year, and it was called "Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense,"
Right.
and talked about how we separate sports like the WNBA and the just because it's just socialization. This is insane.
I agree.
Okay. That's why people vote for Trump. Because there's stuff like that on the left that people just go, I know Trump's horrible, but separating by sports by sex makes perfect sense. And if you think it doesn't, you can't leave the country.
That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Okay. I'm just giving you the answer to the question you're asking all night long. Why do they vote for Donald Trump? It's not always because they like him. It's because stuff like that is kookier to them.
Yeah, Seth, that's not cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like if you had to pick a babysitter for your infant and one had a few character quirks and the other believed that your baby was a dog. You would pick the first one. What Bill Maher said was a little reductive, but absolutely.
Let's see.
Don't know what's going on. You remember when Dennis Prager went on Bill Maher and said that men can't menstruate, and they all looked at him like he had a third head, as if he was just making up insane things? Now, 5 years later, Bill Maher is catching on to the fact that the left is trying to erase gender distinction. And, I appreciate the effort, but you're a little late to the party, dude.
To say America is anti-Semitic is a lie. To say it is racist is a lie.
Okay,
These are giant left-wing lies.
We're talking about degrees.
To say that men can menstruate is a lie. And that is what is said. Yes.
Wait, where did that?
You never heard it, right? Okay, check it out, folks. Check it out. Anyone who says a man cannot menstruate is considered transphobic.
I missed this whole story.
You did it.
I did.
I agree.
Now tell me where are you
Google
getting
it. Just Google it. Can men menstruate?
Who is saying this?
Menstruate?
You're
Who is
talking about
saying
a very small
No, oh,
percentage.
really? Then how do you allow men, biological men, to run against women in the races in Connecticut?
Moving on to the next. Dennis, I remember you in the old show. You were a little more reasonable.
What did I say that wasn't unreasonable?
You said that we think that men menstruate and no one does. We never even. Have you heard about it?
I missed that one, I confess.
And this is one of the premier reporters. He knows everything. These people are very. He's a doctor. He's one of
I
the
would
great
make a friendly bet that the LGBTQ normative statement is men can menstruate.
And to Stephen A. Smith and Adam Schiff's points, Smith acts like he won't say anything negative about the president because he holds the office in such high regard, but he elects an embarrassment like Joe Biden and that sees no issue with slandering Trump. He even suggested that he would annihilate him in a debate. And going back to Schiff again, the notion that Republicans are trying to prevent people from voting is just nonsense. Wanting people to show ID isn't preventing people from voting. Republicans just want secure elections. I mean, at this point, South Africa has a more secure election system than we do. And the notion that black people can't even manage to get an ID, you want to talk about conflicting interests. I don't know how someone like Stephen A. Smith could support a party that thinks his racial group is so helpless that they can't even manage to get an ID. But let me know what you think. Was Maher correct in his assessment?
There you go.
That
That might just be a little sneak peek. That might just be a little sneak peek into what's coming next week, folks.
It might be.
Everybody, I hope you have your pound CTW in.
Yes,
because it's
you do.
time
You need to get it in.
it's time for us to do that random generator
How many
here.
people did we get in there? 4, 5, 4. Looks like 4.
All right, Chad, count it down. I counted last week.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin that wheel. Let's see who we got.
Yay, Miss Ruth got it!
Miss Ruth got it.
Yay!
Hey, Ruth, I know it's cold down there.
Congratulations.
I know how your yard looks. You got room for a Trump flag back there, don't you?
Yes, she does. I know she does. She has a beautiful porch she can show it off of, too.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Miss Ruth.
I don't know if I have your address, but you can send it to Dion. I think y'all are friends on Facebook, so more than likely. Yeah, Dion confirms it. So, yeah, that last video I just wanted to show. I didn't expect it to be a reaction video. I just wanted to show that, but I liked it because they threw in PragerU on there.
We love Trump flags, don't we, Miss Ruth?
Yes, we do. I got mine in my shed so it doesn't get torn up. But
well, folks, I'm going to say it. It's been one wonderful night. Thank you for being here with us, sharing this time, sticking around. Thank you for all the likes and the loves. And if you share it out, thank you. We're trying to grow this channel.
Very much so. Thank you, everybody. Kimberly, Ross, Ruth, Debbie. Sorry, I know there's a few more. Vincent. I know I'm missing one or two. I forget your name on Twitch, whoever you were. I'm sorry. It's easy to remember names on Facebook. Robin's who I'm thinking of.
Yep, there's another one off of Twitch too. So, thank you for joining in. If you've watched the entire show, thank you. Just remember, sometimes in life, you just got to say, truck it.
And tomorrow night will be Vincent's voice. And Friday will be the cyber warfare show. And that might bring up some of that cell phone stuff, like getting your cell phone stolen and stuff like that too. Just so after seeing that stuff in New York City, the Big Apple. So
yeah, not just in New York City, it's everywhere, folks.
It's everywhere. It's just New York City's actually publishing it now. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. Thank you. Stay warm.
Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
We're out of here.